us today from. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope that you have had a wonderful week. Welcome to another episode of your Soul Care Wednesday. This is going to be episode number 36. Earlier on this morning, YouTube brought me back live into my first episode, and I couldn't believe that the first episode that we did was in the exact place where I'm sat. Not exact place, in my car, of course, in a different location, but it was in my car 8 months ago when I had my first go at these episodes, and I can't believe 35 weeks later, 8 months later, we are still doing it. Blessed be the name of the Lord. I can never take that for granted. So last week we looked at setting boundaries and setting healthy boundaries, especially if you want to prosper. If you're new here, my name is Claire. I have the privilege of being the founder of this channel, and I always say that there are three things that we are after. We are pursuing health, want to be able to have healthy, thriving bodies so that as our souls prosper, our health will also prosper. And I can see some of you live with me. Thank you for saving time or getting some time to be here with me. Number two is your relationship. So ensuring that you're prospering in the area of your relationship. That could be relationship with your family, relationship with God, relationship with friends, etc. Number three is the area of wealth. I haven't talked much about wealth for sure. That's something that is coming. It's on my to-do list. So last week, as we were looking at relationships, we tried to understand some of the things that can actually help us to have healthy, thriving relationships, because obviously if you have a healthy, thriving relationship, you will automatically have a good kind of outlook of life, and that can as well impact your soul care, because if you've got relationships that are sucking the life out of you, they can as well impact your soul care. And so as we looked at the relationships, one of the things that we talked about was healthy boundaries, and today it's another installment where we will still look at relationships, but from a different angle, and that's from friendships. I have been thinking about friendships. I see you, I can see you for a while now. If you know me a little bit for a day or for a minute, you'll know I love exercising. At the moment, I'm doing more walks, but soon, hopefully, I'll be able to go back into running. I was doing a walk the other day, and I was actually thinking about one of the stories. I've been reading through the book of First and Second Samuel. I can see you, official Haikul. I'm also in the UK. I've been reading because, of course, I'm a Christian. Openly, that's what I usually say. My life is based around the Bible, and I've been reading from the book of Samuel, and I was so struck by the relationship that existed between David and Jonathan. And I was thinking about ourselves as well. The type of relationships that we have in terms of friendships can really make or break. Our soul care can really be dependent on the quality of relationships that we have. You can have amazing relationships. Obviously, the ultimate relationship that we always have to have, and friendship, it has to be, of course, the friendship that we have will be the greatest one between you and your maker, and that one I leave it for you to make a decision about that. But when you're choosing a friend, one of the things I've been thinking about is, do you have those kind of covenant friends, people that you can call on anytime and they can come to your rescue? I kid you not, this year like never before, I've actually learned so much of having quality. I'm not talking about quantity, but quality relationships. Earlier on in the month of May, a couple of friends of mine invited me. I had one of those big birthdays, so to say, and they invited me down to their house. To date, I'm still recovering from it because of just their generosity, the gifts. Alex, I can see you, the gifts and everything that they did. I was just like, wow, so amazed. I've got a friend, he's just joined us now, Alex. Like every time I feel so discouraged and I'm feeling like I have had enough, we have a chat regularly and I feel like, wow, that was really encouraging. There can be those life-giving friendships that that you can actually develop. They can be those life-giving friendship that you can actually be like, wow, when I have heard this person, I've had this conversation with this person, I feel really much more better than anything else. After I can see you, I feel like there are people that can actually help us to get the best out of our lives, to get the best out of ourselves. And going back onto this story that I was talking about, David and Jonathan, you know so much how this quality covenant friendship was actually able to bring so much help, so much like relationship that was really built on honesty, was built on basic fundamentals of life, right? And it was really, really useful. And I was actually thinking, sometimes I love talking. If you know me very well, I'm a talkative woman. Even though I am almost 100% introverted, I sometimes kind of use my introversy or introverted nature by talking a lot. And I was thinking about it this morning. There have been times in my life that I feel like I've actually ended up on different levels of conversations with people that I was like, oh, that was not even a friend. What was that for? Because there are different types and different levels of friendship. There are acquaintances, people that we can just meet. For example, you can meet up in a school run, you can meet up in a university, wherever. Those are people that I'll call like the outside friends, so to say, level one friendship, that they just know about you. Is like, hi. Sometimes you don't even know their name. Every time I go walking nowadays in the morning, I meet this woman who's walking her dog, and she's always with her daughter. And believe you me or not, all that we say to each other is hi, and that's it. She can go away, I can go away and think, oh, I've got a friend that I meet every morning, and we say hello to each other, despite the fact that I know a little bit about her. I know she's 40-something years old. I know she's got a daughter who's 26 years old. I know she has a dog. I know she lives very closer to my house. Apart from that, I don't know anything else about her. But in my fantasy life, I can actually think I have a very good friend. We meet every morning. We say hello to each other. But that's a level one type of a friendship, right? You can have another level, as they say. For example, Jesus had the crowd, the thousands of people that followed him. Then he had the 72. Then he had the 12. Then he had the 3, which shows you that you need different levels of friendships for different things. It gets to a point where do not just air out all your life to everyone, because you're assuming or kind of characterizing them and categorizing them into different types of friendship. As I was saying, you can meet a stranger today, and then you start airing your life to them. Are they going to help you tomorrow? Are they going to be those covenant people that will come back to you and say, Alex, I can hear you. I can relate to this. I know you're going through stuff. I'm here to listen to you. When you are in distress, will you be thinking of that person to be the first person to call? Or will it be somebody else? They'll be like going like, oh my world, I don't know. Because I am believing and I'm thinking like, I was telling myself this morning, I was actually challenging myself, saying, Claire, you need just one covenant friend. You don't need 1,000 of them. That person that when you are in distress, you will reach out, right? You will reach out and just say, I am going to call this person and just talk and just air my heart out, cry out if I have to cry out, do whatever that I have to do. But at the end of the day, I would love to feel better after I've talked to this person, right? It's quality over quantity, right, Alex? Correct. It's quality over quantity. The longer the chain, the weaker it can be. There are people that I find amazing that they have friends everywhere. They're friends with everyone. If that's kind of you, it's okay. I can tell you honestly, I envy you in a good way, and I'm just so glad that you can do that. But then when you have those friends, can you be able to categorize? Somebody once said to me, do you have those you can have those kitchen friends that all that they can do is they come to your kitchen, you cook together, you just talk about recipes, talk about childcare, but they never know anything about you. But you can also have those bedroom friends where you'll tell them all your secrets or your naked secrets, because you're like, at the end of the day, I trust this person. I've done life with this person long enough. that I can be able to share with them, because the truth of the matter is that we are not islands. We're not made to do life by ourselves. We were made to do life in community. Community is people in common unity, right? It's common unity. But then when you're doing that, if you're not careful, I can kind of guarantee you there'll be a time where you will have issues if you don't know, of course, how to set boundaries. And hence, that's how we talked about boundaries last week. And we're talking about friendship, so that you know in your life, and your friends will know in your life, where do they start and where do they end. But the quality of your friendships will really come to your rescue. As I was saying to you guys, I've actually seen friends come out to me, show up in ways that I'm like, my goodness, financially, spiritually. Got a couple of friends that if I'm in distress, they'll just come and say, you know what, Claire, I'm coming to you. I'm coming to spend time with you. I can call them and I can cry my heart out without necessarily feeling guilty that I have done that, because at the end of the day, we have this bond that has made us to be close, so that at the end, you cannot just survive by inward implosions every time. When you have inward implosions, that you're not having an outlet to let them go, one day they will result into an outward explosion. But those inward implosions, sometimes you can bottle up things in your heart because you don't really know who to share with. But when you have those quality trusted friends, you can tell them what's in your soul. You can mention to them when your soul is aching. You can tell them, today I feel rubbish, right? Let's face it. We all face life. Life happens to all of us. You can tell them, today I've had an amazing day. You can share your highlights of your life. You can share your bottomless times of your life, because you have those people. And of course, above everything else, as a Christian, I believe that the closest friend who sticks more closer than a brother will always be Jesus anyway. And that is a friendship that you can begin, if you've never had that relationship with him, is a friendship and a relationship that you can make a decision and say, hey, I'm going to live for him. It doesn't have to be complicated. And then after that, humanly speaking, try to do today an analysis, for a task for you guys and for myself as well. Sit down and try to think about names of people that today you're thinking, if I was in distress today, if I felt depressed today, if I had emotional distress, if I was feeling anxiety or whatever, who will be the first person I will take that phone call and call? I'll be like, Alex, I am feeling rubbish today. Or if I'm celebrating, that will be the first person I'll go to and say, hey, today I'm on my hilltop moments. Because when you have those friends, they're like safety guards in our lives. They are like, sometimes they can be like places where you empty your emotions and you can download. And of course, when you have those friends, if you are that kind of a friend to someone, also be a safe space for people. Because I feel like in our generation, in this world at the moment, people are really doing life in silence, and they're suffering in silence because they do not feel that they have safe spaces where they can actually just go and empty their heart out. When I come to you and tell you I'm struggling with this, or I'm going through ABCD or something like that, are you going to be my safe space that you can be like, okay, I hear you, Claire. I can give you food if that's what you have a problem with. I can give you money if that's what you have a problem with, or I can do whatever. But then it remains between the two of us. You can also have those friends that you trust. I've heard, believe me or not, these years that I've lived around on this planet Earth, I've had friends where you just do the pumping in. You'll do everything. You'll be the one who's giving. You remember their birthdays. On their birthdays, you'll be the one buying the gifts. You'll be the one reaching out to call. You'll be the one doing everything, but it's never reciprocated. Of course, you don't do that so that it can be given back to you. You don't give so that it's given back to you. But when you have those kind of friendships, it's always kind of nice to think about it. Do I have a parasitic relationship? They are vampires, correct? They are sucking life after you. I remember when I was doing my PhD, I had some of these friends that, yeah, Alex, that's the right definition of like vampires. That I'll sit down, I'm really busy. I'm thinking, my goodness, I need to do this, I need to do that. And when I've cooked, my friends will appear at the door. They will come and eat. And once they finish eating, that's it. And when that was finished, I got to a point of distress in my life when I had the crushing moment where I lost my first most important person in my life. Who was my dad. And I was thinking, like, these friends will show up. Honestly speaking, they never showed up. And of course, as I understand, I know that they say out of mind, out of sight, or out of sight, out of mind, whichever. It gets to a point where once relationships are, I mean, again, the dynamics of maintaining relationships are so different. Maybe I'll do something next week about how to maintain relationships. But there can be those relationships that once you're out of sight, it's like out of mind, and it goes to a point where you're expecting that friend to show up for you and they never show up. But when they need you to show up, you're the first one to show up. You're the one who's always calling. You're the one who's always doing. You're the one. It gets to a point where it can be exhausting. And that's not what we want. We want quality relationships. We want quality friendships where I can reach out to call, but also it feels like two-way traffic, right? It's not just me giving, and never getting anything back. It's not about giving and taking, but it's about just being able to feel the reciprocation. When I have loved you, I want to feel the love back. When I have poured my all to you, I want to feel that reciprocated back to me, because let's face it, the truth of the matter is that whether we like it or not, right? Or humanly speaking, whether we like it or not, we are human. We will want to feel loved. We will want to feel accepted. We will want to feel that we belong. And sometimes we can actually get to a point where our validation can actually come from feeling like loved. Our validation can come from feeling like the reciprocation of love. And if you're getting in that kind of relationship where it's just clear, you're doing the work, you're kind of plowing, you're sowing, you're doing everything, and there is no coming back, that could be a red flag. That you'll be like, do I really want to continue with this relationship? Or is it something that I need to sit down and rejig it and think about it, genuinely speaking? Because, of course, I'm not saying that you put your materialistic desires in front of everything in your relationship. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I mean is that you need to have one or two, three people that when things are not right, you can reach out to them, not just them reaching out to you. And then when it comes to a point where you need to reach out to them and they're not there, right? You get to a point where you really need those people. Anyway, Alex, I come to your question. So being controversial here isn't the only validation you need from yourself. Of course, the greatest, biggest validation you need is from yourself. But sometimes being validated by other people can be useful. Why am I saying that? For example, you're struggling to know what is your gifting or what is your skill set or things like that, or what is your talents and things like that. It can be through a validation where somebody can say, hey, by the way, Alex, you are creative. And that could be a good validation. I don't mean like, again, it depends on what you define with validation. And for sure, at the end of the day, the only validation should be from yourself, because you know who you are. You know whose you are, you know your standards, you know your core values, you know your worth, you know all those things. And those are the things that will help you with validating yourself. But sometimes just having a friend that can be helpful. For example, if you are struggling with something, or you're struggling, let's say you see a job and you're thinking, am I really qualified for this? You can always ask a friend, right? You can always say, Do you think from the way you know me, can I be able to be a good person with these? Or sometimes even when you're in other relationships, right, you can always ask a friend and say, well, I'm falling in love with this guy or girl or whatever. And you're like, what do you think about it? Sometimes it could be useful. Just another opinion, just putting that out there anyway, without sounding controversial. Well, I thought it's gonna be really short, but it feels like it's going on longer than I thought. And as if you know me, you know that I don't really necessarily feel like I just need to talk about quantity of words, but it's more quality of what we do, and hence why these episodes are not very lengthy. I don't do hours and hours because I do not want to bore you, but I just do what I feel like really is important. And so today the episode has been on friendship, and the take home and maybe work for you to do. I'm a teacher, so I love giving assignments, which I'm gonna do myself as well. If you love journaling, or you love just staying and spending some time with yourself, just spend some time and do like an auditing of friendships. Think about the list of people that the other day my son asked me, Mommy, who are your best friends? Think about people that you think are your best friends, and just ask yourself a question, Claire, and be very genuine about it. If you are in crisis today, who will be the number one person apart from God you'll be picking up the phone to call? And if that name is there, you find it's Alex, for example, take a minute and be grateful for that person. Maybe even reach out to them and say, thank you for our friendship. I really appreciate it, because sometimes we take it for granted. And if you realize that there isn't a name that is ringing a bell, you're struggling and thinking like, oh my goodness, do I really have that kind of a person? It may be a time that you can sit down, and next we'll talk a little bit about how to develop good friendships, and sit down and ask yourself, what is it why, for example, if you have 20 friends and you cannot really come up with that one or two or three names that when you're in crisis today, you can call them, ask yourself some questions. Ask yourself, what is it in this relationship that makes it difficult for me to be able to put Alex as number one on my list of people that I can call when I'm in crisis? And then try to find yourself ways in which you can cultivate that better. It could be maybe cultivating it better by being more present. It could be by cultivating better by setting the right priorities in that friendship. It could be cultivating a little bit much more like relationship where you're like, okay, have clear boundaries if you need boundaries. But it will be really, they say, woe to he who falls by himself, because he will have nobody to help them to rise up. But when you have somebody to help you, when you fall down, they will be able to pick you up. They'll be able to lift you up. And the truth of the matter is that whether we like it or not, life will always happen. It's happened to me severally. And there have been times where you just feel like, I don't know, the world has come crashing on me. I'm feeling like there's a song my sister used to love to play whenever I visited her. It's not a Christian song, but it's sung by, I think it's Akon. Feels like the weight of the world. When you're feeling like the weight of the world has come crumbling on you, it feels like the angels have turned their face away from you. It feels like life is happening so fast, faster than you can actually grasp, faster than you can be able to even take a time to breathe, and ask yourself, who are those 1, 2, 3 people that I can quickly, comfortably get to the call or message and say, hey, I need you here now, or I need some advice from you. And if you don't, when you've done that audit and you don't see the names of these people, it's not the end of the world, right? It's not going to be the end of everything. Just be clear with yourself and say, maybe my goal for the remaining part of this year is to be, as one of the scriptures in Proverbs say, whoever wants to be a friend must prove themselves to be friendly. It might be just taking chances and times and opportunities, being intentional to be friendly so that you can create good friendships around you. It may be sometimes, maybe you may have to say goodbye to some people. You may have to bid goodbye to some friends that are not serving you their purpose. And I listened the other day to some professional advice. They're talking about, for example, if you are on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever, some of us, we have social media, we have 6,000 followers. 6,000 followers are those people that when you are in trouble, they will come to you and to your rescue and things like that. And asking yourself, maybe I need to do some pruning work, right? I need to prune down and think out if I've come up with a list of 20 friends, and then I haven't identified at all anybody that I can call on when I really, as the song says, lean on, when I really needed somebody to lean on, then asking yourself, do I really want to have these 20 people in my life? Or perhaps I need maybe to do an inventory and think about, rather than having 20 people, or somebody was saying, rather than having 1,000 followers on LinkedIn where you can post something and nobody responds back to you, maybe prune it down so that you have 10 meaningful relationships and friendships rather than 100 unproductive relationships. Again, as I said, do not go into friendships with the goal of getting something out of it. What is in it for me? Do not let that be your motivator, right? Do not make that to be your point. Like, I will be a friend to Alex because of what I get. Because the truth of the matter is that one day they might not be able to offer you what you want. And that can be the turnaround point where you start to have issues in those friendships. But when you're just genuine about it and thinking down and thinking, Claire, what do I really want in my life? And of course, the older we grow, people walk away from our lives, not necessarily because they're not interested in being friends with us, but commitments. It could be changeover. Like at the moment you change friends, you can change locations, you can change churches, change jobs. And that means every time you change, if you're not intentional to keep those good relationships and friendships, they will change naturally. But even if they change, my prayer for you and my hope is that you will still always have one or two people that your quality friends, cycle of friends, going back into the relationship between Jonathan and David that I mentioned already, that you can always go back to those covenant friends that you know this friend will not ever let me down. And of course, the biggest, greatest, amazing friend you can ever have is Jesus. And as I said, if you do not have a relationship with him, it's very simple, it's very straightforward, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the next episode. I feel like I'm now starting to ramble and I don't want to do that. I just want to take time and appreciate each and every one of you who's been with me live tonight. See you, I saw you. The official, Hi Cool, Actamir, Alex, of course, my friend. There's Zahran. All of you, I have seen you. I've seen your contributions. Thank you so much for your custom. Those of you who are watching in real time, as I said, I've heard people on and off, dropping in and dropping out. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch these. And as I said, once you've identified those friends that you may want to reach out and just say thank you to them. And of course, thank you so much for your friendship, so to say, that you have continued to come here. If you're a returning viewer, honestly, I cannot tell you enough. Thank you for every single support that you give me. And if you're a new viewer, why not just consider being part of the tribe? That could be a starting point of a new friendship with me, and that could just be by either clicking that like, share, or subscribe button, which will go a long way in supporting what we do here. As always, I hope you know that you're loved, celebrated, and appreciated. It has been such such an honor getting to catch up with you guys this evening on this topic of friendship, which will have a part 2 next week. I know some of my friends have been on this call the whole time, which is almost 30 minutes of being stuck with me for 30 minutes, just listening to me talking, contributing on the chats. Goodness me, I truly appreciate, because for me, that's a true testament of how friendship looks like. A friend that will sacrifice half of the hour to be here with me, because I know, for example, where we live in the UK, life can be really busy. Half an hour is a lot of time for some people, but the fact that you have sacrificed 1 minute, 10 minutes, half an hour, a second to listen to this woman talking about friendship, I truly appreciate. And if you are in that place still thinking of, how do I make this friendship thing work? As I mentioned, we'll come back with the second installment next week, which will be episode 37. Until then, my prayer for you is that you will prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prosper. You'll know that you're loved, celebrated, and appreciated. God bless. Take care. Love you all, and catch up with you again very soon. Goodbye.